week on Party Animal Quilting, I'm going to be quilting the inner green border of Kansas City, Kansas. This small quilt that is a test for its larger brother. I want to make all of the quilting decisions before I start quilting the full quilt. A party is not a party without three things: food, beverage, and the right footwear. The food served at tonight's party is chocolate chip cookies made by my husband. Tonight's tea is Tazo classic chai black tea. My cookies are served on a Hello Kitty serviette. I designed serviettes, the lined cloth napkin pattern for by the numbers quilt patterns. As for shoes, I love shoes. I'm known for some pretty funky shoes. The shoes I'm wearing right now are my Mojave slippers. They've gotten quite a workout in 2020. Enjoy your snacks and let's party. I'm ready to quilt this inner border, and I pieced it so that it's 1.5 inches finished. So I decided I am going to divide this area into 1.5 inch squares and then put a swirl in each square. And what that does is it's going to give me the roundness of the applique without being literal. I don't need to put full circles in here. So I can get a ruler and mark every 1.5 inches, but I happen to have a 1.5 inch stencil, which is nice. And I can lay it over top of that border, grab my Pounce pad, give it a little bang, and just divide my border into 1.5 inch squares. And again, that chalk will come right off. And I'll do the same down the other side. That's certainly a fast and easy way to do the marking, to get all of these lines without moving a ruler and drawing each one. Now comes the time to do a thread choice. And I found this lovely Tutti thread that is blue and a little bit of a blue green, a dark green, and a lime green. And I think that's going to look great on here. It'll give it just a little depth of color. Which is going to be interesting because there is color in other parts of the quilting in the border. And this is going to be a more lightly quilted area because it's just going to be a swirl in each one. I'm going to do a swirl and then a swirl in the opposite direction, and then so a swirl in the opposite direction, back to the first direction. Now I'm easily confused and I have trouble changing directions. So what I am going to do is I'm going to start in the corner with a marking, and I'm going to mark 3/4 of a circle approximately. I'm going to mark 1/2 of a circle and 1/2 of a circle, and that's going to help me follow and know which direction my swirls are going. So I just have to lay my swirl inside of my drawing, and then again all of these marks will go away. And this is one place where I'm not going to start in the middle and go out in 2 directions. I'm going to start at one end and stitch it continuously till the other once my markings are done. So this is the thread I've used so far in the quilt. I'm just going to grab out that green bobbin, which isn't an exact match, but it's a really thin thread, so it's going to match well enough. I'll get the machine threaded and then I'll start quilting. I have a 50 weight thread through my needle. I have a size 90 needle in here. I could be using an 80. I tend to go up a size just to make sure my thread won't break. No other reason. And I have that 80 weight DecoBob in the bobbin. I'm going to stitch the edge of my quilt down And I'm going to be prepared to put a swirl up here. Now, part of that swirl is off the quilt, and I'm fine with that. That'll be covered in the binding. But I'm not trying to match my stitching 100% perfect. I'm just trying to stitch, and I like seeing fabric in between. I like it when it's not perfect. And here I'm going to go in the opposite direction. And in the opposite direction. I need to lift my foot up a little bit. Let me scroll my bar. I'm feeling the drag on there. Almost at the corner. And now I'm going to come in, instead of stitching a half circle and laying a curl inside of it, I'm going to stitch 3/4 of a circle down here and lay a swirl inside of it. And I can turn my quilt, I never did that, to come back down the other side. It's a small quilt, so I don't always think to turn. Oh, I'm really pleased with how that looks. I thought of doing something much more intricate in that border, but I think the less is more. The next part I'm going to do in next week's Party Animal Quilting is stitch the background of the dots in this block. Thanks for joining me again on Party Animal Quilting. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll talk again soon. Hi, I'm Debbie Brown with DebbieBrownQuilts.com. Quilt along with me in 2021. I've designed 12 different scrap quilts and will offer them free, one each month for all of 2021. Since machine quilting is my passion, I'm including machine quilting instruction in each month's lesson. Subscribe to my newsletter at DebbieBrownQuilts.com to be sure you find out all of the details.